Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to explore the dark and chilling world of the 5 deadliest serial killers in South Africa. These individuals terrorized the nation with their heinous crimes and left a trail of devastation in their wake. South Africa, officially known as the Republic of South Africa, is a country located at the southernmost tip of the African continent. It is bordered by Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Eswatini, and Lesotho. The country has a diverse population with various ethnic, cultural, and linguistic groups. The estimated population of South Africa is approximately 60 million people. However, please note that population figures can change over time due to factors such as birth rate, death rate, migration, and other demographic factors. Before we go on, please be advised that the content of this video may be disturbing to some viewers. Now let's dive into this unsettling topic. Number 5. Stewart Wilkin, also known as the Boaty Boa. Stewart was born on November 11, 1966. Wilkin is recognized as a particularly uncommon serial murderer since he targeted 2 different victim groups, young boys and female prostitutes. He also murdered his adolescent daughter, Wane. From 1990 until his capture in January 1997, Wilkin committed murder. On South Africa's east coast at Port Elizabeth, he was active. He would lure his victims with money, gifts, or promises of employment before subjecting them to brutal acts of sexual assault and murder. His victims numbered at least 20, with many bodies found dumped in remote areas. On February 3rd of 1997, Wilkin was charged with 10 charges of murder and 5 counts of sodomy. On February 20th, 1998, he was found guilty of 2 charges of sodomy and 7 counts of murder. Wilkin was given 7 life sentences and informed by Justice Chris Jensen that had the death penalty still been an option, he would have received it. He murdered his daughter from his first marriage, Wane. He claimed that because his stepfather had sexually abused her, he wished to deliver her soul to God. He also murdered Henry Bakers, his second wife's kid. He admitted having sex with Henry's disintegrating corpse in a police interview. He added that he consumed one of his victims' nipples. Number 4, we have Gert van Rooyen and Joey Halfhoff. Gert van Rooyen and Joey Halfhoff were South African criminals who involved in a series of abductions and murders during the late 1980s. Their crimes shocked the nation and remained unresolved for many years. Let's take a deep dive into their history. Gert van Rooyen was born on November 17, 1946 in South Africa. Not much is known about his early life, but he grew up to become a seemingly ordinary man. He worked as an engineer and was married with 2 children. Van Rooyen's life took a dark turn when he met Joey Halfhoff. Joey Halfhoff, born on August 3, 1958, was a woman who became romantically involved with Gert van Rooyen. She had a troubled past, including a history of drug abuse and prostitution. Together, Van Rooyen and Halfhoff embarked on a criminal spree that would terrorize South Africa. Between 1988 and 1989, Van Rooyen and Halfhoff abducted at least 6 young girls aged between 9 and 16 from different areas of South Africa. They lured their victims with promises of employment, modeling opportunities, or educational support. The exact motives behind their crimes remains unclear, but sexual abuse is believed to have been a significant aspect. The couple kept their victims captive in a house in various locations, including Pretoria and Modimolle. They subjected the girls to horrific acts of violence and abuse before eventually murdering them. The bodies of the two of their victims, Joan Boysen and Odette Bouchard, were discovered in 1989, leading to a police investigation. As the investigation intensified, Gert Van Rooyen and Joey Hahoff became aware that law enforcement was getting close in on them. On January 16th of 1990, Van Rooyen and Hahoff committed suicide together by shooting themselves in their vehicle. Their deaths prevented further insight into the full extent of their crimes, including the locations of the remaining victims' bodies. Despite their deaths, the case of Gert Van Rooyen and Joey Hahoff has continued to haunt South Africa. The fate of the 4 remaining missing girls, Yolanda Wessels, Fiona Harvey, Anne-Marie Wapenier, and Tracy Lee Scott, remains unknown. Efforts to locate their bodies and provide closure to their families have been ongoing. Over the years, several theories and speculations have emerged regarding additional accomplices and the possibility of a wider network of criminals involved in their crimes. However, due to the lack of concrete evidence, these theories remain largely speculative. The story of Gert Van Rooyen and Joey Hahoff serves as a chilling reminder of the horrors that can be committed by individuals who appear ordinary on the surface. Their crimes have had a lasting impact on the families of the victims and continue to be a somber chapter in South Africa's criminal history. The third person is Cedric Markey, also known as the Wima Pan Killer. Cedric Markey, also known as the Wima Pan Killer, was a notorious South African criminal. Cedric Markey gained infamy for his involvement in a series of brutal murders that took place in the Wima Pan area of Johannesburg, South Africa, between 1996 and 1997. He was believed to be responsible for at least 27 killings, although the exact number remains uncertain. Markey, together with an accomplice named Lazarus Mazingane, targeted victims in the Wima Pan area, predominantly focusing on individuals living in informal settlements. They primarily targeted vulnerable members of the community, such as homeless people and individuals engaged in illicit activities. The pair used various methods to carry out their crimes, including shooting, stabbing, and bludgeoning their victims to death. Some victims were also sexually assaulted. The brutal nature of the murderers sent shockwaves through the community and gained significant media attention. The investigation into the Wima Pan killings proved to be challenging for the South African authorities, as Markey and Mazingane operated discreetly and targeted marginalized individuals who were less likely to be reported missing or their deaths investigated thoroughly. However, the police eventually made a breakthrough in 1997 when Markey was arrested after being linked to the murders through DNA evidence found at the crime scenes. He was subsequently convicted for multiple counts of murder, attempted murder, rape, and robbery. In July of 1999, Cedric Markey was sentenced to more than 1,340 years in prison for his crimes. His accomplice, Lazarus Mazingane, also received a lengthy prison sentence. Number 4. David Randitsheney, the Monster of Diepsloot. David Randitsheney, also known as the Monster of Diepsloot, is a South African criminal who gained notoriety for his involvement in a series of gruesome crimes. David, along with his accomplice Johannes Molefe, was involved in a series of crimes that occurred in the Diepsloot township, located north of Johannesburg, South Africa. The crimes primarily targeted vulnerable women and children. Between 2013 and 2014, a wave of brutal murders and sexual assaults struck the Diepsloot community, leading to fear and outrage among residents. The victims were often found dumped in open areas or near informal settlements. The crimes committed by Radisheni and Molife involved kidnapping, rape, and murder. They targeted women and children, taking advantage of their vulnerability and the inadequate security measures in the area. The investigation into the crimes was challenging as the Deep Slough township faced a variety of social issues and limited resources, which hindered the police's efforts. However, through diligent police work and community cooperation, authorities managed to gain evidence that linked Radisheni and Molife to the crimes. In 2014, David Radisheni and Johannes Molife were arrested and subsequently charged with multiple counts of murder, rape, and kidnapping. The pair faced a trial where they were held accountable for the crimes. It's important to note that the term Monster of Deep Slough is a media moniker given to David Radisheni and does not reflect an official designation by law enforcement or the judicial system. Due to the sensitive nature of these crimes, the details surrounding the case and the subsequent trials are often distressing and tragic. The impact on the victims and their families cannot be overstated. From 2019 to 2013, Radisheni shocked South Africa with his sadistic crimes. He preyed on young children, specifically girls, in the Deep Slough township. Radisheni would lure his victims into abandoned buildings or open fields where he sexually assaulted and murdered them. His crimes led to the deaths of at least 11 innocent children. Number 5. Moses Sithole, known as the ABC Killer. Moses Sithole, also known as the ABC Killer, was a notorious serial killer who operated in South Africa during the early 1990s. His crimes sent shockwaves down the country, leaving a trail of fear and devastation in their wake. To understand the history of Moses Sithole, it is essential to explore his background, his crimes, and the subsequent investigation that led to his arrest. Moses Sithole was born on November 17, 1964 in Vosloorus, a township near Johannesburg, South Africa. He grew up in a troubled environment characterized by poverty and domestic violence. Sithole was the product of an abusive home, with his father physically assaulting his mother and him witnessing the violence at a young age. His troubled childhood took a toll on Sithole, and he experienced difficulties in his personal life as an adult. He had a history of criminal activities including burglary, theft, and rape. However, it was his emergence as a serial killer that gained him notoriety. Between 1994 and 1995, Sithole embarked on a horrific killing spree that targeted young women across South Africa. His modus operandi involved luring victims under the pretense of offering them job opportunities or assistance. Once he gained their trust, Sithole would rape, torture, and strangle his victims, often leaving their bodies in open fields or dumping them in nearby locations. Sithole's crimes became known as the ABC murders because they initially appeared to follow an alphabetical pattern according to the victims' names and the locations where their bodies were found. This led to widespread panic and fear in the communities affected by the killings. The media coverage of the ABC murders intensified the public's anxiety and pressure mounted on the police to apprehend the killer. The investigation into the ABC murders was complex and challenging. The South African police launched a massive manhunt and established a task force dedicated to capturing the serial killer. They utilized various investigative techniques such as forensic analysis, victim profiling, and community outreach to gather information and narrow down their search. Eventually, in October 1995, Moses Sithole's reign of terror came to an end. He made a critical mistake when he attempted to strangle a survivor, who managed to escape and provide the police with crucial information. This breakthrough led to Sitho's identification and subsequent arrest. During his trial in 1997, Moses Sitho was found guilty of 38 murders and 40 rapes. He was given 2,410 years in prison, effectively ensuring that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Sitho's crimes shocked the nation and highlighted the urgent need for improved social welfare systems, crime prevention measures, and support for victims. The case of Moses Sitho, the ABC killer, stands as a haunting reminder of the depths of human depravity. It also emphasizes the importance of effective law enforcement, community engagement, and the victim's support in combating and preventing such heinous crimes. The legacy of Moses Sitho serves as a dark chapter in South Africa's history, reminding society of the need for vigilance and continued effort to protect its citizens from violence and injustice. Although already mentioned, it's essential to emphasize Moses Sitho's place as the deadliest serial killer in South Africa's history. His vicious spree of rape, murder claimed the lives of more than 30 victims, causing fear and panic throughout the nation. And that concludes our chilling journey through the 5 deadliest serial killers in South Africa. It's a sobering reminder of the evil that exists in the world. Let us honor the memories of their victims and strive to prevent such strategies from happening again. Thank you for watching, and please, before you go, don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button, because this channel is going to bring you more of chilling stories, true crimes, conspiracy theories, and many other psychology related stories and well-researched content on some of the big and important people in the society.